when I was in college first year, inside I was searching to have somebody who could really give Gandhi and his activities to me. So, when we were in first year, the Bhoodan Yatra started. And from Gujarat, the first paper of Bhumiputra with 4 pages was published. Luckily, we had in our college a spiritual circle, and one of the professors who used to come to me was very close to one of Gandhi's disciples. He was Professor V.C. Shah, and he was a khadi wearer. So he called me at his teacher's room, professor's room, and told me, "You want somebody like Gandhi, isn't it? So read this paper in your spiritual circle." And that was the first ever copy of Bhumiputra. And we learnt a lot about Baba's Bhoodan Movement from papers, newspapers, but this Bhumiputra gave me an exact idea. And in that paper, one sentence was this, that Vinoba always says, that yo vai bhuma tat sukham, na alpe sukham asti. When you get something complete, in that completion, in that wholeness of things, there is a happiness, a joy of life. And a part of anything, there is no joy of life. Na alpe sukham asti. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham. So मैंने सोचा, I thought that must be that Vinoba ji has received the fullness of life, a fullness of realization. That's why he can say this. So it was a great inspiration. That I've never forgotten that sentence ever since I read it. It was a quote from Upanishads, but I felt that Nanak ji also has said, "Kahe Nanak main pura paiya." So always these saints, they see some wholeness in something, and what is that wholeness? So for the last 40 years, I have been following in the footsteps of Gandhi and Vinoba and finding out what the wholeness of life is. It's a holistic vision which they had, in which they included not only the self, but also the society, and also the infinite galaxies which must be in the skies. And with all that, they also believe that the past and the present and the future are also part of our life. And whatever experience we have got is the experience of the whole universe, which through universe God wants to take the experience. Why did He create the universe? Because He wanted some experience. And with that experience, He is residing in our heart. So our satisfaction, our realization lies in our finding out the wholeness of universe in our life. So this is how Vinoba's first appearance in my life. I had not read of Vinoba, I didn't know about Vinoba, but from the Bhoodan Movement I got the inspiration. But later, as years grew, I used to read lots of books of Vinoba. Whenever they were published in Gujarat, one copy would come to me. And that's how, until my college days, I was totally well versed with Vinoba. Plus, because of Gandhi, we all used to know that all religions are one, God is only one, and we also don't belong to one religion or one sect, but we belong to the whole of humanity. So Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, Parsi, Zoroastrianism, all those we used to learn from each other. Bombay was a very cosmopolitan city, and we had friends from all languages and all religions, and then whenever we used to discuss as a spiritual circle, we never felt we were different. So this is what, as a background, was very useful to go to Vinoba and understand his message. Vinoba never allowed anybody to write his life or biography. But he used to mention some things. So out of his 15 years of lectures, we could gather quite a few things about his life. And what is very interesting is that his mother was not, who had not learned in any school or college, but who was a very knowledgeable lady, And Vinoba said that whatever works I have done in my life, future life, the inspiration of all of it is in my mother's words. For example, what was the inspiration in Bhoodan? Vinoba said we used to live in a very small village where the other population was Adivasi population and only one Brahmin family. They had a small garden, a small house, and they had many trees of fruits. So when a tree gives fruits, the fruit children should eat. But there's a rule in the house that the fruit should be first presented to God, then peeled off, cleaned, cut into pieces, and then the whole Adivasi children should be given those pieces. And then only these 3 children can get to it. This kind of a feeling, every time Vinoba would come from the school or come after the play and sit for his eating, mother would remind him, have you put water to tulsi? Have you watered your tulsi plant? That was his duty. No, but I am very hungry. No, nothing doing. Get up. Go to the tulsi. That tree is also hungry, like you are hungry. Once a beggar came to the house. Every time beggars used to come. But this once Vinoba was big enough to talk and discuss. So he told his mother, he is so healthy. You make him work for a few hours and then give him something to eat. So mother said, oh, before you eat, have you worked for so many hours? When you are hungry and you want to eat. This man is hungry, so I should tell him to do work when he is hungry. Like that, there was an orphan child in their family and a bit elderly from Vinoba. So Vinoba never knew that this is an orphan child. After a few years, after about 20 to 30 years, that man died. And Vinoba said, no, we need to take a whole bath, we need to do this, that. And no, we don't have to do it. Why not? Because he is not from our family, we have just kept him in our house. So Vinoba was so surprised that a man stays in our family for 30 years without any relationship, and I never came to know that he is not from our family. Like that, there are 2 very, very interesting episodes from the life of the relationship of mother and child. Some poor students used to come and eat and do their learning. Old times, that was the method. In a richer family of the village, some students will come and stay with the children. So, mother, if there is something left of the night, roti or something, that roti will go to Vinoba's plate. And what was being cooked hot, all those would go to that other student. So Vinoba once asked his mother, every time you speak of non-partiality, but when you give food to us, I get the second-rate food and he gets the first-rate food. Why? So Vinoba's mother said, you know, 1% there is a feeling in my heart that you are my child. So if I have to do the second-rate food, I have to give it to you only. He is our guest and he must get the first-rate food. So that when this feeling will go away that you are my child, then I will not punish you with the second-rate food. And I am not yet that high. Another time, that time when another lady is not well, mother used to go and serve them. She'll cook at their house, own house, and then go to the neighbor's house. So sometimes these children get hungry earlier and they say, why do you do this? We eat cold food and they are eating hot food because you cook for them later. Why this? So she says, I am giving you hot food every day. Their mother would have given them hot food also. But when their mother is not well, I should give them hot food. You can eat cold food for some time. And these are the ways in which, the way she behaved with everybody, Vinoba knew that we have to care for the other person more than we care for ourselves. And he says that because of this feeling was so much into our heart. Its potentiality has increased with our repetition of that feeling. That really I can enter anybody's heart and tell him that you don't think of yourself, think of the poor people and give me their share. There are so many things which Vinobaji used to say about his mother. One thing he said that she used to work for the whole family, which was a big family. They had cows also in the house, agriculture work also. So the mother used to keep very busy the whole day. She was just all around the house and all around the village and all around the fields. But she never got tired. She was always singing some songs of bhajan and doing her daily routine. So she will eat the last in the whole family. Everybody she used to serve and last she will eat. But before eating, she'll go up, take another bath, second bath, and there was an Annapurna Murti, statue, small Annapurna statue in the house. So she'll go and put her forehead there and say, Ananta Koti Brahmanda Swami, Maze Aparat Kshamaka. Forgive me for my many mistakes, because you are the head of the universe. And then tears would roll down her cheeks. So Vinobaji was very surprised that she is not doing any mistakes. She is serving everybody. She is loving everybody. She is so holy and so sweet. And yet every day, whom does she put before and weep like this? So Vinobaji says that if I put a balance and on one side I put all the experiences of my life and on the other side only this tear of my mother asking for forgiveness from God for having done no guilt. I think this part of the balance has taught me more than the whole world has taught. Believing in God, a real belief in God, and once for a second surrendering to it. Small statue that has impressed me a lot and that has made God a reality for me in my whole life. Many such, his father was a great scientist. He used to serve with Maharaja Gaikwad, Sayaji Rao, and he was a mathematician, he was a yogi, and he used to do everything according to the Shastras. Vinobaji was more impressed by one of his grandfathers. They were Agnihotri Brahmins. In old days, there was no matchbox. So one house in the family will keep the fire burning all 24 hours. And those who want fire, they'll come with a stick and get something and fire their own chula, hearth. Now, this uncle was holding that Agnihotra. He was with great pretense. He would observe all the necessities of Shastra. And then he would pray in temple. They had their own temple, small temple in the house. Vinobaji said there once, when I was very, very young, that grandfather would never eat without giving the prasad to Vinoba. Vinaya was small, very small, 3 years, 4 years, and he would sleep early at any time. But that grandfather always used to come to him, give him some prasad, and then eat. So prasad is something very holy, and we should keep respect of it. That's what he learned. One day, one spider, bichu, came near that Murti, Shivalinga, where his grandfather was praying. So Vinobaji shouted, "Bichu, Bichu." So somebody would have come and taken the Bichu with a pair of tongues and taken him out. But when that person wanted to come into the puja room, grandfather said, "Nothing doing. This Bichu has taken Sharan, refuge in God. We have no right to touch him and throw him out." So Vinobaji said, this taught me fearlessness. That if we believe in a high power which is everywhere, then we should not fear anything at all. So as a child, Vinoba used to take his friends 15 miles, 20 miles, and some of them were very much afraid of ghosts. So one day Vinoba said, "Okay, you are afraid of ghost? When does the ghost do his worst works?" He says, "Amavasya Ratri." Yeah. "Okay, we'll go to the Smashan Ghat on Amavasya Ratri, we'll stay there for the whole night and we'll see how many ghosts come and whatever work they do." So they all, 7, 8 young friends, aged 13 to 14, they went to the Smashan Ghat, Amavasya Ratri. No light anywhere, no street lamps in those days. They went and Vinoba used to shout around the Smashan. Anybody dead? Any black magic here? Any ghosts? Any witches? Then he would tell his friends, "See, nobody answers. Nobody dares to come here." Like that, we didn't want people to be superstitious. Don't get afraid of things. But he was himself afraid of shadows, because his shadow would get elongated whenever he went away from light, and then this shadow follows me always. So that was very young days. So he told his father, "I am afraid of this shadow. Why does it pursue me? Why does it chase me like this?" So his father said, "No, he doesn't chase you. He doesn't chase you. You know, you just turn your face. He'll follow you." Your shadow, because of the light behind, it shows himself ahead of you, but if you turn round, he gets afraid and runs after you. So let him chase you, no worry. So these are the ways in which once his mother had to put 1 lakh of tulasi leaves on some occasion, and she would go on marking the mala and finding out whether she is really given 1 lakh. His father saw this. Father was a scientist. Some other religious day, ceremony day, they had to put one rice piece, one rice grain, another rice grain like this. So his father said, "You take a small vati, count how many rice is there, and then if it is suppose there are 100 vatis, you have to just give 1000 times that vati. Why do you go on counting 1, 1, 1, 1, 1?" This is what the father said to the mother. But the mother said, "Yeah, what you say is very true, but I will ask Vinoba whether I should do this or not. I will ask my eldest son, because he knows a lot of religion and he wants to be a sannyasi, he wants to be to God realized and whatnot. So I will ask him." So she asked Vinoba. So Vinoba said, "No, this is not a question of mathematics or science. It's a question of your having remembered God's name, and you are offering for 1 lakh of times. So you go on doing this as we have been doing from the olden times." And the mother was so glad that everything in life is not to be counted. God's name is not something to be counted. And if you want to give 1 lakh, every time in our society, when I was very young, the milkman will come and he'll give 2 liters to sale of milk, and then he'll give something more. So we used to stand with small bowls. Give us also. Mother will heat up the whole milk, but unheated milk is very good. So our father would tell us, don't trouble that poor man. Why should he give you more milk? You are paying only for two sales. But that man will say, no, Papaji, don't tell these people not to take. You know, we give this dhara because when you heat up the milk, it will not remain 2 liters, it will get down a little. So your children should be able to drink full 2 liters when you are paying for 2 liters. This was the feeling in all sellers. When you used to go to market, they used to bargain for the price of mangoes with hands. So supposing for 35 rupees, we used to get 135 mangoes. That was the rate. So how many have you brought? 100 I have brought, father will say. Actually it will be 135. So we used to go and tell the merchant, oh, you don't even know how to count. You give. It was a brotherly family life, village life. Even in Bombay it was so simple as all that. And no, I have made no mistake. In mango sellers it's a practice that when a person pays for 100 mangoes, we have to give 135 because while you put it in the grass to warm it so that it should be ripe, maybe 30-35 mangoes will be brought. So you children should get 100 pure mangoes to it. This was the spirit in India that time. In so many things this was the spirit. So in God's name you don't have to count. And if you count, for God to have your remembrance for 100 times, you count 108, not 99, not 77. So that 8 times if your mind goes here, then it's okay. But God should get 100 remembrances, pure and honest. So during those days, many such instances happened in the house where his mother would tell Vinoba what is right and what is wrong, what should I do at such a time. So once she said, I know so many bhajans, I know so many stories. In the cold season they have a small stove nearby and they would 3-4 children, the guest children and mother, they'll pass on stories. So, but I don't know the real scripture of India, which is Gita. So whenever a Gita lecture would be there in Baroda, Vinoba used to take his mother. But he says, no, all scholarly people, they talk very high, I don't understand Gita like that. Okay, then I'll bring you a Sanskrit Gita with Marathi translation. No, this translation is too scholarly, I can't understand anything out of it. After 10 or 12 times, where will I search for you a good book? Ma, all books are like this. Because only scholars can dare to touch the Gita and speak about it. So, my child, better do a favor to me. You write a Gita in Marathi. So that I don't want discourses or thesis on Gita. I want just pure Gita of Krishna's words. So when Vinobaji translated the Gita, that time mother was not alive. She died at a very young age, when Vinoba was only 20. But later, Vinobaji remembered that my mother has expected. So all mothers in India, if this is a book which inspires every lady like my mother, all mothers in India should get Gita in their own mother tongue. So when we started the Gita mission, Vinobaji told us that if Bible can be translated in 450 languages in India, so that the poorest man and the poorest dialect also will get a Bible for them. Why are we people so conservative? Is not to translate the Gita in the language. Actually, that is not Krishna's words. Whatever Krishna said was recorded by Vyas and then he has put it into couplets. So if Vyas Muni can do it, I can also do it and some other person also can do it. This was his logic and that's how we spread the Gita. And when Vinobaji told me you have to spread the Gita's message, I said no, I don't dare to do it. He said that if you read a good book, you tell your friends it's a good book you read. If you get a good hotel where you get good food for very low price, you go and tell people. For this you require some very big scholasticity or very big self-realization. No, it's like this. You have developed yourself on the basis of Gita. You just go and tell people Gita is a simple book, it's a good book, it makes good young men and women. That's what you have to do. He never used to feel that, like I told you in the morning that Gangaba was sent to teach the history in Gujarat Vidyapith. Like that, any simple person can teach Gita because the Gita is not told in the caves of Himalayas. It is on a battlefield, very practical ground. And it is a conversation between two best friends. When one friend cannot take a decision, the other friend wants him to take the right decision. So it can't be scholarly. It's in everyday parlance. Just because we are afraid of the Sanskrit language, we feel it's very difficult. But actually the conversation of Gita is between two friends and to solve a very practical problem. So that's how Vinobaji would inspire us to take this message to every home. Both of them were married, Arjuna and Krishna. None of them was sannyasi. It's not meant only for... And once we went to a friend's place and an old man was telling the grandchild, 12 years old, you don't read the Gita, you don't read the Bhagavad, you don't read Mahabharata. All these are after your retirement. So I straight away went to that old man and told him, Dadaji, you are stopping these people from really getting the right thing in life. Because Gita is a magazine of power. And if the child knows the Gita, he'll know what I have to learn before 9 years of age or 12 years of age. Otherwise they'll miss all those virtues which they have to develop by 9 or 12 years of age. Is it like this? The grandfather will say, yes, please. Now you show me some proof that it is useful for the children. I directly told him, look, these are the slokas. 5 slokas where it is said that you must give this education to it between the age of 12 and 24, between the age of 24 and 48, for a householder, for a professional. After retirement, how should he behave? And when he is actually going to die, how should he behave or what should he be thinking? Yeah, I knew all these sloka by heart, but I didn't know their relationship with age or education. I said, it is written in the last sentence that, yes, this is all knowledge, and if these qualities are not developed, it is ignorance. He said, yes, I knew that also, but still I couldn't relate that it is education according to life stages. So, like this, in everything, the Gita is a very interesting book if somebody can really interpret it for your life. For example, one of my friends met me after 20 years after I had left my life. And I was in Bombay by chance again for some other work of Vinoba. So, from somewhere of his friend's gallery, he saw me and came down and said, please come to our house again. You will not come for so many years. So, okay, when should I come? You come on Wednesday. His mother, was alone when I went to his house on Wednesday. And the moment she saw me, she wept like anything, sobbing. I said, what happened? Auntie, what happened? You know, your uncle died. You know, I've been with such rapport with each other. But auntie, uncle died when I was in matriculation. After that I studied so much, I worked so much, I went to Vinoba. It's 12 years since I went to Vinoba. You mean you have been weeping and sobbing like this for 24 years? Yeah, you know. But I said with this, my friend and his elder brother, his elder sister, his younger sister, they all passed first class first. One is a doctor, one is a solicitor. And they must have had parties in the family, they must have marriages in the family. No, but I never attended anything. I only wept and wept. I was so horrified, you know, that all my friends and brothers and sisters in this family, they never enjoyed their parties because the mother would never come and share with them. So I was angry. I found out, I opened my Gita and showed her, see what is written here. No, you read it to me, I won't understand. So I read it to her. It was said that if a person has got a strong willpower, and if the willpower is applied to either depression or shocks or complaints or आलस को क्या कहेंगे, idleness or moha, vaira, then it is not a good willpower, it is a tamas willpower. It was your trouble if your husband has died. That sorrow should not be passed on to all your family members and all your relatives. And this is not a way to show love to your husband, I say. काका के लिए आपका प्रेम ऐसे नहीं प्रकट होना चाहिए. She was a Jain lady. Your Gita gives such instructions. Yes, every slok of it, and every 1/4 of the slok of it is an instruction. And I gave her 2-3 more examples, and she said, if it is so practical as all that, I must read it. Please leave this Gita with me. So what I want to tell you is that we don't understand our scriptures. They are really stories, they are really very light. Upanishads are nothing but stories. But we don't have our roots into our old education systems, and that's why we miss so much of what we should not miss. For example, I was telling my audience in the morning that there was a 15-year-old child in Maharashtra who has written a volume of 9,000 verses, and in it he has described the peculiarities, all kinds of uniqueness of insects, vegetation, animals, human beings, psychology of married people, psychology of old people. This whole book is a book of psychology and a book of poetry and a book of beauty. But the writer was 14 years old. Imagine. Who taught him this much knowledge? Who taught him this much vocabulary? Who taught him to speak in, he was just speaking, he was not writing, to speak in poetry. It's amazing. But there was an education system in this country by which they used to rouse some. You know, when I was in college, I used to read a lot of psychologist magazine. Very interesting. In that magazine once a story was said that in America there was one painter of houses. And that painter of house, he fell down from his ladder. The whole ladder collapsed, so he also fell down. And some nerve in his psyche was opened and he could tell any ailment. He must have been a doctor in some olden times. So if you go to him with any ailment, he would directly say that this is because of this and this is the medicine you take and you get cured. He became so popular in America as a doctor. But that was because of that accident. Maybe our rishis knew some type whereby they could open certain nerves from our nerve centers, whereby we can remember many things of past and future, and all that knowledge is given to us as a heritage. For example, Gyaneshwar's elder brother, Nivruttinath, 4 or 5 of the whole family used to go to Trambakeshwar for some tirtha, yatra, pilgrimage. And a tiger roared, and they were flying in all these directions, running. So when they got together again after the tiger had vanished, that eldest child was missing. And he came back after 3 or 4 days. And when he came back, he was all shining. He knows the whole of Brahma Vidya. So what happened? Where were you all these 3 days? What did you eat? He said, I haven't eaten anything, I haven't drunk anything. I was in a cave in which a very big yogi with this much big beard was sitting, and he taught me Brahma Vidya. And now I can teach Brahma Vidya to all my little brethren also. Within 3 days. And that Brahma Vidya is reflected in Dhaneshwar. So what was this kind of education? Whereby one could do this. We have forgotten all that because we are after degrees. And all this Vinoba had seen, read, experienced. He was a Maharashtrian, so he was very well versed in Ganeshwari and Shankaracharya because of a Brahmin family. And he always kept faith. Like Vivekananda said, that though there are so many lines of communication getting opened all through the world, they didn't know about the website and the internet and all that, but still they said that communication lines are widely increasing because of revolution. Power revolution. But Vivekananda said that from every canal, India's spiritual thoughts will flow. You don't worry. Every new nerve which is being built in the world, around the globe, from those nerves, Indian knowledge will always go ahead. So India will teach these things which it has preserved to everybody. So like that, Vinobaji also used to feel that science develops a lot in all branches, and yet when the science will stop somewhere and ask questions, they'll have to refer to Vedas for the answer. And all of you must be knowing that Mahesh Yogi had 450 scholars from foreign countries sitting in Noida in his Shankaracharya Bhavan, saying that if you have got any questions in your branch of knowledge, only one shloka from the Rigveda will solve all your problems. And they have written books how this unified theory, quantum theory, unified field, this shloka surpasses the information given in that unified field formula. So we have to go back to our heritage somewhere and feel the self-respect that even though today all of that is sleeping, if we are really awakened within ourselves and we are self-respecting, we can still draw a lot of advantage in practical life also. For example, I'll give you a practical example today. Bhavini has been suffering from a rot bone in the second year, inside ear. And we went to all base doctors because her brother also is a doctor, and all of them said, it's a case of operation. But please don't operate yourself because your rotten part from where the pus oozes is very near the main line of the brain. And if you operate and if something wrong goes wrong, either you will have meningitis or madness. So this poor lady, she was so afraid, no Baba, I don't want. So for 3 years, all the doctors, including her brother, they wanted to get it operated, and she said, no, I'll try all of the pathies except this allopathy of operation. And all of a sudden, one of my old students, whom I taught 16 years back, he came for a visit to our youth center. And when she met him, he said, don't worry about your ear. I'll get you in touch on telephone to one of our mystics. He'll read a mantra from there and you'll be cured here. 3 years she's been taking all allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurvedic medicines, and every day the pus would ooze. Every day 2-3 cotton pieces would get wet. And for the last 7 or 8 days, this mantra, morning and evening, on mobile. It's curing her. It's not magic. What we can do by hands or operations, it could be done by voice, speech, in the right harmony. Because we are made up of everything that we do, even the blood flows through our veins, even it makes a small noise. Stethoscope find out the hearts pumping also. So we are all made up of the same light and sound. So what you can do with the light, we can do with the sound also. But somebody should know the science. So this is what I want to convey to you really, that India has got many fields of knowledge. India is really ahead of many things. But we call them quacks and of no value. But one of them can be a real Siddha Purush or a mystic, and he can have control. Whatever missiles are going around the wars these days, we had such missiles before also, because in the description of Ramayana and Mahabharata, there are missiles which can make people go to sleep. There are missiles which were creating fire around, and missiles which would create worms around for the enemy. And these were missiles which could be removed also at half. So all this, what is happening in today's world, what we see on TV, are totally described in our old literature also. So I just request all you young men to feel proud of a nation which has had its history of 28 years unspoiled. And Vivekananda and Vinoba and Gandhi and all great men of world, Ramana Maharshi or Aurobindo. Ramana Maharshi, for example, he was just an ordinary student studying in metric. And one fine morning, he was just lying down on his chatai, mat. He saw that his soul came out of his body, and on one such photo, it remained there. And Ramana Maharshi felt, I am dead now. The soul will go from the window out and I'll never rise up again. But after half an hour, 27 minutes, that light came again and settled itself in his chest. And by the time this happened, he was a self-realized soul. He left his studies, he left his home, went away where that light wanted to guide him. He went into the Meenakshi temple, and in the underground hall of the Meenakshi temple, where nobody used to go there, he just went there, fell in a samadhi, and after 6 months, somebody had to go there for some work. Some vessel or some lantern was needed. So when that person went inside that cave, the underground hall, it was smelling very well. So he said, something happening here, maybe a rat or a cat has died there. So he brought some people, young volunteers like you, with 2-3 lamps, and they searched around where anything was there. Then there was a very pious, young, black-skinned man who was sitting there, and whole his body was eaten away by small insects. And blood and pus was oozing out of it, and that man was in samadhi. That was Ramana Maharshi at the age of 17 or 18. So this man, they brought him outside and served him with so much of vegetation, medicinal vegetation, and he was cured within 15-16 days. And on that stone only, he said, I don't want to go anywhere. Finished. I'm here. After that, many people had some pity on him and sent him to another stone. And on that Arunachalam stone, his ashram is built today. He never spoke a word as far as possible. And he was a person about which 16 people, some foreigners and some Indians have said that because he looked into our eyes, not giving us any upadesha, we have realized our souls. Including this Papa of Brahmdas Swami, he always said that it is because of Ramana Maharshi that I could go to this height. Miracle. Paul Brunton has written a lot about him. So you can have it in writing also. But what I say is that such miracles happen even today. They are not miracles. They are just a dive in one's own psyche. It's nothing like a miracle. It's a science of psychology. Deeper psychology. Our psychology knows only consciousness, subconsciousness and unconsciousness. They don't know the turiya. There is a fourth position of consciousness in which that consciousness can awaken all the recorded history of the conscious, unconscious and subconscious experiences. And that is consciousness which we have to realize to self-realize or to God-realize. So this Turiya Avastha is a state of psychology in which all three experiences of Jagruti, Sushupti and Swapna get awakened, and then it takes you deeper into your own soul and you go into meditation. So these are things which are very scientific, but we don't know the science of it. And after all, whatever the Shakti or energy was which created this whole universe, which has got thousands of planets like us and crores of suns and moons like us, that energy cannot come to your hand as a God particle. Sorry. It's beyond empirical experience, beyond empirical experiments. You have to find Him out through love. There are many ways of going to God. They are just pathways, but all those pathways will be successful only if you got the faith, the patience and the love. Love for the whole universe or for everybody and everything around you. So this is the message of all saints of India, all rishis, and we have to live a holistic way of life. It is actually WHO. It should not be only holy. Holy. We are whole. We are whole in ourselves. And I should feel that all of you are within me and I am there in all of you. So Vinoba has given us one formula. It's very interesting. God is in everything. Me, you and society or nature. So nature is in you, me and God. You, in you, myself is also there and God is also there and nature is also there. And in me, all of you are there. So it's a four-way combination. Without nature, you and me could not have been there. So without you also, I could not have been there maybe. Unless there is a relationship, there is no reason why we should meet. We are from so many different countries. And we are meeting today like one family. Why? Because there is somebody who arranges this and we all have to gather together for some good purpose. We could not have taken appointments and arranged this. It's beyond our calculation. But somebody is there to calculate, and somebody is there to organize things, and somebody, whatever, our Gita says that whatever you get at any moment, it's special gift, a unique gift to you for that particular moment. And nobody else is responsible for giving those things to you. Only God can give you. And so if you realize God or if you thank God at every moment of your life, whether it's favorable or unfavorable, He is with you. I saw this footsteps story in your computer. And all of you must be knowing that story because it's in his computer. And one old man was sitting on the seashore in some European country where he saw that I have lived for 86 years, but I will not leave my footsteps on the history of the world. So he just looks back in great depression, but he sees that there are footsteps, at least on the seashore, in the wet sand. So he counted, just for the sake of fun. 1, 2, 3, 4, it is really 86. But there is some places there is another small fruit also. What is that? So then from the skies a voice told him, you go there and see what it is. So he saw that the small footstep was his. Oh, in which year? 10th year? Yeah, I had typhoid that time. 17th year? I had an accident that time. Oh, this time my wife left me. All those years where 2 steps were there. They were his times of this thing. 1 step was there was a time. So, he says, oh, God was with me, but in all my times of difficulty, God left me. Then that voice says, God didn't leave you, God lifted you. That one step which is there is not your step, it is God's step. Oh, God is so great. There's many such stories of people who have really experienced God. In our Gujarat, there was one Narsi Mehta, and when he saw God, God gave him a musical instrument, and one Rag Kedar, that when you take this instrument and sing Rag Kedar, I will have to come to your service. You have taken a lot of trouble to come to me, I'll give you, repay it, compensate for it. 54 times in Narsi Mehta's life, in all his times of difficulty, he would do nothing. A daughter has to got married, he would do nothing, he'll just sing God's name. So once, jealous people, they sent some people going on pilgrimage to Dwarika to him. That man had lot of gold coins. He said that I want to give this to beggars or fish there, but I can't carry this much because there are so many jungles in between and I'll be robbed. So Junagadh people have said that go to Narsi Mehta. Narsi Mehta, I am not a rich person, I have no branches, I am not a banker, I am not anything. So they said, no, people have told us, we leave this here, you just give us some name from there in Dwarika. So poor Narsi Mehta, he knew it would be a farce, but he said, okay, Shamal Shah, sit. I'll give you this chit, it will be like a hundi, you go there and you will find your money back. That man went away with great faith that this is a great bhakta, God has helped him so often, so he must be a very big person. He went walking to Dwarika, it took about 20 days. And Narsi Mehta won't eat, won't drink, he would just sing a song, please, God, don't make this poor man unhappy. He is kept faith in me and I have kept faith in you. And whatever is my chit, hundi, checkbook, check, you please honor it. That man went to Dwarika and asked every jeweler that I want to give a big donation to the temple also, to the beggars also, to every Brahmin also, I want to have a big feast. So I just want to encash my check. See, nobody summers us it anywhere. So he felt that, okay, I'll go to the river and at least have a dive. And sat with a very sad face. So one man with a big pagdi came and said, yeah, why are you so sad? Shedji, why are you so sad? I don't know, Narsi Mehta gave me a cheat and no Shamal Shastri in the whole of Dwarika. Oh, sorry. He sent me word also. You know, I'm just 12 miles away from here. And he came with Lakshmi and all his aspirations was over. And when he went again on that same way and went to Junagadh, he said, Narsi Mehta, Bapre, you are such a big person. One lady and one husband, they give me more than the money, gold. So Narsi Mehta said, yes, gold is here, go away, take it away. I had to fast for 15 days. So such experiences in the lives of so many people. There's a big volume in Pavnar library with about 102 saints' lives. And they are all full of these things, how God graces. So I'll just sing a little couplet of Gujarati song and finish this. That song says, भक्तों ने कैसे कैसे भगवान का दर्शन पाया है, भक्तों ने कैसे कैसे भगवान का दर्शन पाया है, प्रभु ने भी कैसे कैसे निज भक्तों को अपनाया है। तुलसी मीरा सूर कबीर, तुलसी मीरा सूर कबीर की कथा सुनाऊं, गली गली इतिहास सुनाऊं, गली गली राम नाम के हीरे मोती मैं बिखराऊं, गली गली लूट लो जिसका जी चाहे मैं शोर मचाऊं, गली गली कृष्ण नाम के हीरे मोती मैं बिखराऊं, गली गली।